17th, 2018 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. You know, if you would really understand a person, one of the things that you should look at is how they communicate with their best friend. Maybe not necessarily their family, because there can be all kind of interesting dynamics there, and positions of power and history and all kind of things. But someone that they feel more on a peer-to-peer relationship, so to speak, or just someone that is a choice. Your best friend is usually chosen by you. It's an excellent way of getting a quick insight, a quick take on that person. And we're going to take a brief look at just a quick interchange between Jesus and what many people would say was his best friend, and that is Peter. We find this in Luke chapter 22, verses 31 and 32. It is, frankly, two verses that just, it's a gift that keeps on giving. There's so much to unpack there, but we're going to take one aspect of it today. So Luke 22, 31 to 32, Jesus is talking to Peter and tells him that the devil has asked for you, Peter, that he may sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you that your faith may be strong. And when you have turned again, your translation may say turned back, may say converted, or it may say, as I prefer, mimicking the same interpretation as in the parable of the prodigal son, when you have come back to yourself, strengthen your brothers. You know, a lot of us, we have friends who are going through bad times, and we genuinely want to help. And you may have said, as I have said at times, I wish I had a magic wand that I could make this all go away. Well, here we have someone in the form of Jesus Christ who actually had a magic wand, so to speak, and could have made all of this go away. Could have saved Peter innumerable troubles, and yet did not avail himself of that power. No, instead he prayed for him, and knowing that he was God, of course, he had foreknowledge, and he knew that there were going to be times when Peter would not live up to his highest and best good, let us say. Now, why is that? You know, why does God allow this? Why would God allow the devil to sift his best friend, knowing that at times Peter was going to not be able to stand up to that challenge? And the answer, I think, is at least in this particular case, is indicated because what does it say? When that is over, strengthen your brothers. You know, sometimes we're going through things not just to make ourselves better, which I do think many times God allows us to have trials and tribulations so that it will grow us in various ways. But also, sometimes I think we go through things, including spiritual trials, so that on the other side, we're able to speak more competently and credibly to other people who are currently suffering. You know, it's so much easier, isn't it, to take advice and counsel from someone who's been through the same things you've been through, who really truly understands the turmoil, the questions, the confusion, the pain, whatever it is. There is the weight of credibility there. Other people who haven't suffered the way you have or haven't been through those experiences, they may mean well, but somehow it's just very, very different. Now, there's something else that I want to point out to us here, particularly at the beginning of the year. You know, we've had several programs talking about setting expectations and how we want to be sure that we're looking at the new year with right eyes, not just with rose-colored glasses. I'm all about positive thinking, and anyone who knows me knows that's true. But I also think that we sometimes do set ourselves up for that Norman Rockwell syndrome, where if everything is not picture perfect as we have conceived it to be perfect, then we get very depressed and upset. You know, Jesus is talking to, if not his best friend, one of his best friends, and he knows that Peter is going to fail. I mean, he's going to fail abysmally on the night of the Garden of Gethsemane and the beginning of the crucifixion, as we know. And yet Jesus says to him something very interesting. And when you have turned back or turned again, the word sometimes is converted or come to yourself. Our friends are going to disappoint us. Sometimes it may be intentionally, but I think most of the time people disappoint you. They do it completely unintentionally. Maybe, for example, they're not quite as enthusiastic about something as they were a week ago. Or maybe they're not as loving toward you as they were at your last meeting, and you were looking forward to that little bit of validation, and they're just a little more standoffish, and you're thinking, I don't like this. Can't we go back and have that consistency? I like that. Or maybe it's a concern. They were more concerned about you. Now they're sort of like, yeah, well, just buck it up, kind of thing. But whatever it is, be aware that Jesus understood that Peter was going to vacillate, and sometimes it was going to be intentionally, maybe unintentionally. You never know what the stresses and the distractions on other people are. And just be aware that it may not be that they are betraying you or any way that they are in their mind trying to be inconsistent, but they may just need to, in the words of the Bible, come back to themselves, turn back, and then everything can be strengthened, including relationships and also relationships with others that have nothing to do whatsoever with you. I'm reminded about how my husband and I analyze people. A friend of ours was over during the holidays, and he was asking our opinion about an event, a relationship that he was having with a woman. And my husband and I both, listened, and I always am trying to say, okay, here's a behavior. Let me analyze what would make somebody do that. And I think I'm very good at that. But Josh is always quick to remind me, and he did on this occasion as well, that not every behavior has an intentional reason behind it. He said, you might think someone's brusque with you, and you might think, oh, they're blowing me off. They don't like me as well, or they don't like what I'm saying or something. He said it could be as simple as they got to go to the bathroom, or, or it could be that they're really concerned about something else, or they're in pain, or who knows what it is. So I just take this opportunity to remind all of us that it's great to have consistency in people, but life is not like that. Life intervenes, stresses, strains, preoccupations. You're not going to get consistency out of people at all times. Do not let that upset you. But remember, just as Christ, he knew that Peter was going to be inconsistent. But when you've come back to yourself, and you will, then use that to strengthen your relationships with others. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of The Bible. Delight in the details. Make it a great day.